Jack, I know you're in the green room waiting to be interviewed, but this is a tradition that I have on a lot of my crypto streams. And what we like to do is we like to manifest. See, you know, there is this thing called the law of deliberate creation. Okay, the law of deliberate creation allows us to create things with our minds. We can manifest certain things occurring, and together, as a crypto community, as the Zenian community, we have the ability to manifest mass adoption into your projects. Manifest pretty much the crypto pumps that you're looking for. And I understand it's a little sad that we've been in the bear market for quite some time. But you know what? It is up to you to take the time and to manifest together with me the green candle pumps and the mass adoption into the Zenian ecosystem. Because you all know that we're not a fucking cult. You all know that we're not here to fucking shun people. We're here to be collaborative. We're here to bring people together to accept something that is amazing, like freaking Zen! Understand what you're a part of. Do not let anybody FUD or hurt your bags. Because at the end of the day, this is exactly what you need! So take a moment and understand and put forward mass adoption. Because you know Jack got your back, and so do I! And people like, you know, Trayvon too. And Jim Rat and everyone else. And there's gonna be a special guest here too. Hopefully, maybe, if he comes, he comes. All right, let's go ahead and get into our studio. Okay, we could go ahead and pause on the green candle music and studio time. Okay. Where you're designing it, huh?
Yeah, it's nice and damp and dark. There's some, you know, bats and lots of electricity.
I hate that. I hate bats. I don't like them.
Okay.
So, Jack, it's been a little while since we've last spoken, right? And I know we were supposed to do this on Sunday, but there was a lot of information that started coming around. You started just really dropping bombs, and I'm like, oh my God, we got to go ahead and cover this stuff, right? So, before we get into it, chat, listen up, okay? Typically, I like to, you know, look at my chat, and I like to address my chat, typically. However, at this point in time, we don't want to waste Jack's time, right? So I want to have this back and forth kind of conversation with them. And then when we have this back and forth conversation, we're just going to figure things out, get them all those questions, because there's a lot of questions. All right, you guys asked a ton of questions in the thread, in the DMs, and I'm going to fire off as much as I can to this guy. Okay, and even the hard ones. And I'm sure he's looking forward to those.
Absolutely.
See, this is why I like Jack. He doesn't call that FUD. He calls that a challenge.
It is certainly is not a FUD. It's a challenge. It's something that makes us better. I think sometimes pokey questions they can bring the worst in us, but sometimes you can actually improve and come out really much better.
That's good. I'm glad that you have that outlook on things. And one of the things that I have to commend you on, sir, is the fact that you give streamers the opportunity to come and sit and talk with you about what you're doing. And that in its own separates you from many other founders.
Yeah, it's super fun. I think those type of conversations, I mean, like when you're on your own head and you have everything and everything looks perfect, but you never get really truly the true perspective of reality unless you talk to people. So that's why I love talking to people and researching and figuring out what exactly is that people need and want to know. Yeah, well, people, there's a question that is not left answered is essentially like an open wound, right? A lot of people
they feel as though if they don't get addressed, they want to go and talk on the opposite side of the spectrum. And I know you've been venturing into these Twitter spaces, and shout out to the Twitter spaces out there and all the people who are currently involved in making those Twitter spaces happen. And I'm going to shout out a couple of names here, some of our warriors on Twitter. Let's go sprove.eth. Let's see. Hold on one second. Reflections, baby. Bella Yuli. Zen Heads NFTs. Zen Girl. Clout Cox. Sixer. Let's keep going here. Alpha Airdrops. Simple Waters. Iceman. Zen Guap. Shout out Shoivan. You're in there too. Hey, wait, where did what's his name go? Oh, okay, Zen Rich Mose. And by the way, he's probably one of the most passionate people that I know in the Zen community. Zen Rich, awesome guy. Look, and if I didn't say your name, I apologize. I'm just reading real quick through the list. I think the Twitter spaces are very important, Jack. And one thing that I really admire about you is the fact that you take the time to get in those Twitter spaces and address the community. Right then and there. You'll be working on the on coding or whatever it is that you're doing at the time. I mean, you'll even be on your farm and you'll be in the Twitter spaces, and that I think has immense value because you're allowing people that raw experience of talking to you.
Yeah, thank you. I think being available to be part of the community is actually very important because that's what builds community's foundation really well, and people are feeling comfortable that they can reach a founder, they can ask questions, they can bring concerns, they can bring ideas. So overall, it's just awesome.
Yes. And in those Twitter spaces, there's some times where people will come to try to infiltrate. Okay, right now, the infiltrating kind of people, they want to throw mud in the water, to murky things up. Okay, now the issue with that, right, and again, the reason why this Twitter space is so important is because they're targeting people within the Zen community, and they're trying to make it seem like there's an issue with what's happening, right? Now, one of the things that I've been seeing on Twitter, and I thought this was hilarious. Okay, this was funny. People were calling you a janitor at Google.
Yeah, that was actually that was a kind of like an inside joke with Trevon. Trevon was challenged by his I guess Telegram members, and he was asked, what if Jack was Googler number 21 but he was like an intern? And so I interrupted him right away, and I just told him that I was a janitor, and I just took everybody's trash out.
So you were a vampire janitor.
You could say that. Vampire janitor.
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. So, and these questions are gonna get more technical as we go. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna have fun with this because why not?
Yeah, let's have fun.
Okay, so let's have fun. You ready, Jack?
I am ready.
Okay, so in terms of Richard Hart being absent, why?
Absent from where? From Twitter?
Yeah.
Well, I actually saw at least 6 or 7 technical tweets from Richard, which is a welcome change of pace.
Do you think it's because he sees Zen start forming? He's seeing the X1 fork coming to fruition?
I think it's a part of it, but I think another part of it is that I was a very vocal person who mentioned that the founder should be more available and actually guide the community. Like, you don't have to have the expectation of profit, but it doesn't mean that you have unavailable founder just because he's busy shopping or something.
Right. And that's very, very good that you're saying that, because you yourself, you're in my opinion, I think you're doing it way better. and that's why you have my undying support, is because of just how available you are and how amazing that you are and what you do.
And I think one other thing I want to mention is that I ran a poll with hexagons just as an experiment, and the poll was 4 questions. The first 3 questions were relating to how available a founder should be, and the last I guess answer in the poll would be like, I don't care, I have no expectations, he doesn't need to be available. 46% said he doesn't need to be available at all, but 54% voted in favor for Richard to be available. I think he may have looked at that poll and decided, well, if the community really wants him to be more available, so maybe he should be. So it worked out.
That's amazing that you're making changes even in his community, right? You're setting the standard, and that I think is really, really important. One thing that we do talk about often in the Twitter spaces is like, how things should have been, how things should have changed, how things, why is it that things did occur in that other community? And look, I think the approach of being more collaborative is probably the best approach. And you set the standard for that too. Collaboration is key. Separation destroys, right? And I think, the more that we extend the olive branch to any community, it doesn't even have to just be Hex, it could be any community. I think that it's a valuable thing.
Yeah, I think so. The crypto world can go both ways. Sometimes obscurity actually leads to manipulation. Like, for example, a founder can manipulate the price by being absent or by being present or by saying things or not saying things. But ultimately, being transparent and open gives people more choice. And I think people should make their choices based on the factual information that's available. Because when you don't speak the truth or you don't speak anything, you're technically removing people's choice from making the right decision, especially when it comes to their economic energy and their money. And so I'm a big proponent of people being educated and making educated choices. And I think that's what brings longevity to any community.
Yes, indeed. And collaboration, I think, is key. One thing that I have to, applaud your community for, and our community, because I'm also a Zenian, is the fact that, people are going back into what we used to be back in 2020, right? And I think that's a very important kind of, observation to make, right? And this is speaking in terms of that the pocket of hexagons that have adopted being a Zenian. As you've probably heard, Jim Rat and I made men's.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I was there when you guys spoke to each other.
Yeah, I was very, very surprised that he was willing to bridge the gap with me. And again, we're very, like, we're mature, right? Like, we understand, even though that, like, sure, my content is what it is and it's fun. But at the end of the day, we're mature human beings where we can understand, there's a bigger picture here, right? We're here for 8 years. And I think that the more collaboration that we have, the better off that we are. And we're even starting to see some events happen where, like, we're doing like a New York City meetup for Zenians. We're doing, more stuff like that. So do you ever see yourself attending said convention or meetup one day in the future?
Yeah, I want to have a Zentopia convention in Las Vegas or in Hawaii. I want all Zenians to come together and talk and discuss first principles and what we believe in and everything that blockchain and crypto technology brings to the world.
That's interesting. Zentopia.
Zentopia.
I love that. So, if you were to envision how a Zentopia would be like, what would you like? Like, would it be like a typical Bitcoin convention? Would it be like more pink and what would you say is a good
Well, I think good entertainment definitely should be key. Specifically, something like some sort of DJing and good music and good lights, lots of fog, that's that sort of thing. But then the other thing I would say, maybe a hackathon where people can build stuff on top of Zen ecosystem, proof of burn, things like that. And of course, education. So education is key, as I mentioned before.
Yes.
Education is what makes us make intelligent decisions and win at the end.
Yes, indeed. Education is everything. And one of the things I want to do sometime in the near future is I want to create like a Zen University. I want to be able to simplify a lot of the concepts that surround Zen in our ecosystem. So this way, say onboards could sit inside like like a PowerPoint or something like that, where we have conversation and we're able to teach not only how to be a Zenian, but also how to operate within all of crypto. I'm a very big advocate for educating people into being really really good in being investors in crypto, because if not, then that lack of knowledge, it just completely destroys price action, price charts. People degen. They don't know when to sell, when to buy. They don't know any kinds of. They don't really know even the lingo of crypto. They're just in it because, hey, I'm going to make some money. We want to eliminate that, and we want people to have more of a pungent kind of understanding of what cryptocurrency is.
Yeah, 100%. So it looks like we have a guest joining us.
Yes. Hello there. Crypto Kindness has decided to join us on this live stream. That is my surprise guest. Welcome, my friend, to the show.
Thank you. This is a really interesting situation for me. I don't see you, Joker.
Yeah, I'm on the stream. I can't, for some reason, my OBS doesn't allow me to show my video on OBS and on Zoom. It's a camera conflict. I don't know.
By the way, the way to solve it is you install this software called Virtual Cam or Virtual Camera, and it will mirror your camera as an extra software device to Zoom as well, or anywhere else. Virtual Camera.
Okay, I'll definitely research into that because I need to remedy that problem. But
I've got to get a different background. I can tell just by looking at Jack's background, I do not fit in. I've got like the Norwegian sauna kind of look here, and Jack is in a dungeon of some sort. And I know
he's in the
I know
Batcave.
Joker, you've got the Batcave.
Batcave.
Yeah, okay.
So
Well, I'll goof around here for a minute, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so let's ask some technical questions here, Jack, and Crypto Kindness. You feel free to go ahead and jump in if you want to, speak in terms of whatever it is that Jack has to say, or if you want to even ask a follow-up question to the question that I'm going to pose in front of Jack.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so let's start in terms of like crypto regulation, right? So this is a little bit of a little spin-off on on cryptocurrency that people like they like to ask the technical stuff. We'll lead into that, but I want to start with like, what is your understanding of like the current regulation of cryptocurrency? How the government is essentially going through it right now with the fine-tooth comb to regulate it as much as possible. And what do you think of the CBDC that is coming out and the regulations that will come out for crypto after the bear market? Okay, do you think it'll hurt crypto like badly? Do you think it'll support crypto? What do you think is going to happen for us?
I think it will support crypto, and there's obviously two ways to think about it. But the biggest I guess fiasco that happened in the last 6 months was the Luna collapse. And the problem with Luna and USDT being an algorithmic stablecoin, people believed that stablecoin remains stable, where in fact no algorithmic coin can be stable unless it's backed by some sort of assets that are not moving at the speed of light like Luna was moving. We definitely had a Moonfall. Have you seen that movie Moonfall? It's like one of my favorite movies.
No.
Yeah, you guys should watch it. So what happened is that a lot of people got onboarded into USDT, were making killer yields, 15%, 20% in the USDT Luna ecosystem. And Luna was advertising a stable coin, saying this is a stable thing. You don't have to worry about losing your money. So they onboarded millions of people, and then got very popular. They got attacked, and everything cratered, and Luna disappeared to zero, and everybody lost their money. Now, the worst thing about it is that there are some DeFi apps and some sort of, some other players, they were holding baskets of stable coins, and portion of it was Luna. So I was reading an article where a person just used an app where he was depositing their monthly paycheck or portion of the paycheck into a stable coin portfolio and getting 10% yield. So that was a yield optimizer on stable coins that completely crashed because Luna crashed. So not only Luna killed the direct Luna investors, but also a lot of indirect holders of those financial instruments that were advertised as being very safe. So going back to regulation, I feel like the law in the United States probably will be passed where should you advertise to your potential clients that you're having a stable coin, you will be required to hold collateral, where Luna did not really hold any collateral, so they couldn't stop the collapse.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. I think that makes a lot of sense. There should be some form of collateral there for stable coins at least. And I think all U.S. regulation, or even, in other countries as well, to a point, it helps because, again, there's been so many issues in cryptocurrency. And I believe that if in fact there is more of like, and I know a lot of people probably hate me for saying this, but more of like a handle on this Wild West that we know of as cryptocurrency, there will be more trust, and I think there'll be a lot more adoption into it in the years to come. What do you think, Crypto Kindness?
Well, trust is paramount, but the problem I see with the government and regulation is that, how many people trust the government? A lot of what they do is certainly to benefit themselves as well. So it's, you're basically asking the Wild West to handle the Wild West. The government, they like to pose as a organized structure and all this type of stuff, but we see time and time again where policy and whatnot is slighted towards them somehow to win. So I think it's a necessary evil. It really is for crypto to advance, for the majority of the world to get into it, to have some sort of regulation. But the big concern is it coming from the right place for the right reasons, or is it coming to enrich the people that lobby the government, people that are making those decisions? So I don't know enough about the intricacies of regulation to really wager much of an opinion. My concern is, however, that as we've seen before, the regulations will benefit the few, being the lobbyists and the big money people, and the rest of us, could be hurt. But, the opposite side of that is the regulation is done for the right reasons, and it would be the right thing to create kind of the more secure feeling, if you will, that would allow the average investor to get into it. Of course, the flip side of that is once it becomes a lot more secure, a lot more stable, so to speak, the gains that we see and have become used to will begin to disappear as well. So time will play. Time will tell us. But you got something to say about that, Jack?
Yeah, so I think one of the ways to think about it is that the number one problem that the government and the regulation should be solving is this situation with FTX. So FTX allowed to exist where Alameda Research and FTX US were three different separate entities, were moving money from one pocket to the other, and they weren't even part of the crypto. Like, they issued FTT token, they called it crypto, but it wasn't backed by anything. And the lack of regulation allowed the bad actors attack the consumer market and guide the unwitting consumers into the world that they thought was crypto, when in reality it was just the world of corporate finance enriching themselves. Now, that is the number one problem that the regulation should be solving, not necessarily who should call a stable coin, or whether people should be reporting their transactions this way or that way, or whether the KYC should be done for every wallet. That is not the problem. Hunting the little guy is not the problem. The problem is that you have an entity governed by a corporate institution that is not even ran as a corporation. Like, for example, FTX had no board members and they had no accountants. And that is what hurts the consumer first and foremost. And when you log into FTX back when it was available, you were not trading crypto. You were trading database records, and anytime you tried to withdraw crypto, they would settle the transaction with you by sending the crypto from their reserves. Now that has nothing to do with crypto. But what it is that it's taking people's interest in crypto world and guiding them away from what the blockchain was designed to solve. And that is where I feel like the government really should step in and not allow something like FTX ever to happen again. And like, I have to say, because I know, like, you guys probably know Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, paid promoter of FTX.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The guy is a billionaire, supposed to be a financial genius. How is that he was promoting something, being a billionaire, being a person who supposedly knows how to do due diligence, promoting a company that just collapsed and lost billions of dollars? Like, how is that he did not know? Like, I would say it's straight up incompetence. He was not willing to know because he perhaps decided to get a little greedy, and he was paid by FTX to promote. So maybe he was paid not to ask the pokey questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder about that. The other, I mean, Jack, you bring up FTX, and it's the perfect example, and it also kind of highlights a little bit of what my concern is that, SBF was all buddy with a lot of, he was buddy with Gary Gensler and a bunch of these other people that, were they swayed by the fact that here's this kid that has a bunch of money and a bunch of power, and so we're not, he's nice, he's a good kid, he would never do this. Were they that naive that they didn't look farther into what was going on, or were they in cahoots with it in some way, shape, or form? I mean, I think FTX. I mean, it's easy to draw that conclusion, and certainly, when they show these things on the news and the articles, FTX and all this type of stuff, and the average person sees that there were government officials that were a part of that, whether that ever actually comes out or if they get swept under the rug. But it does highlight the risk of corruption with government getting involved, because there's an awful lot of money to be made.
Yeah. And let me just touch on that. As far as, government corruption goes, certainly that is a big, a big kind of thing to worry about, right? But in terms of having a seat at the table, I know there's many people out there that are itching to get that seat at the table, and I recall, some when I was deep into the Hex community, there were some people out there that were going into talking with senators, previous senators, people who have influence in government. I think we, especially during this current bear cycle, we should certainly work together to get somebody or some form of pocket of people to sit in these, I guess in these meetings with these committees, so they can understand what cryptocurrency really is and what the benefit is and how to really maneuver this space. Because as we know, a lot of these congressional shareholders, so to speak, they're quite older. They don't really understand how this digital money works, right?
Well, yeah, I would say a few years ago when Zuckerberg of Facebook was at congressional hearing, they wouldn't even understand how Facebook makes money.
Really? They didn't.
Yeah, I mean, he had to explain to them how ads work and what exactly is done with ad targeting and those type of things. So if it's true that most of those people do not understand the plain vanilla online ad market, we shouldn't expect much from them when it comes to crypto.
I have to agree. I absolutely have to agree. All right, so let's shift focus a little bit to some of the community questions. Now, these are questions that the community has asked me, again through DMs and through that one thread. So I can't elaborate on what they mean with each of these questions. I could just tell you what the question is, and then we can speculate as to what they mean if we're not clear of what they're asking. Okay. So, how will X1 match the aligned incentives of Zen if 30% of the allocation of the native coin will be corporate owned?
So we haven't decided on the allocation at all. It could be 30%, could be 10%, could be 15%. Now, when it comes, the word corporate owned or VC owned is very much loaded word. Like, for example, if we look at Binance, the way that they have raised their money, they just raised money against 10% of BNB from angel investors. Now, angel investors are people who are willing to take on additional risk with a product that doesn't yet even exist. So obviously, they give the money for development and they want to get paid by the product's ability to gain traction and to gain value. And it is not illegal to raise money or to make money as an investor, obviously. I mean, we do it all the time with crypto. We choose to invest into a coin, and then we choose to make the right decision or the wrong decision. Now, when it comes to private placement, and obviously we're talking about X1, which is the layer 1 chain that my team is designing, we want to raise money even before the chain comes online so that it can actually come online, because nothing is done in a vacuum. Nothing can just show up out of nothing. It needs funding to be created and to be safe for people to use. So that money that I plan to raise actually will go towards the safety and stability so that people feel comfortable that they can join the X1, be able to do trading and various other things, and participate in financial instruments on that L1 without feeling that it's bolted together with chicken wire and about to fall apart in flight. So that is my answer to that. But also I would mention that Zen's ecosystem is built on first principles. Nothing can change that because Zen exists online, on-chain. It's immutable code and has no admin keys. No one can stop it, and it will always exist while Ethereum plus 9 other chains exist. That is what gives the ecosystem solid foundation. The L1 that we call X1 is a consumer of Zen that gives Zen more value and more reasons to exist, because it is the Zen minters and Zen holders that will get the largest allocation from the X1 token or X1 cryptocurrency.
So can I ask a question there, Joker? First of all, I hope, can you see I got a bat cave in the background now? I mean, I am here to be part of the crew.
You're in
Where's
it, man.
where's the Batmobile?
You can see my little logo in the background. there.
Batmobile's
Yeah,
gone though. He's out there. I don't know where he's at.
Fighting crime, man.
Fighting crime. Yeah, he's looking for SBF.
Or I'd say or Richard Hart, but
Or Richard.
that's not cool. Not cool. Not cool. I got my pulse chain hat on, man.
Hey, listen,
I'm still here. I'm
We're
still part of the
still,
crew.
we're still, okay with Pulse Chain. I like Pulse Chain.
Hey, it's still my biggest bag. Not gonna lie.
Same.
Zen, I will say that in about 410 days, though, that could change.
Yeah. Yeah.
For no particular reason, Jack. But
Right.
No
Right.
particular
Right.
reason.
so to get back to one of the things that I have in some of the chat rooms I'm in, and people have reached out to me, one of the big concerns I've heard that I think we need to discuss openly more than once. So, there's a thing in sales, somebody has to hear an idea 7 times before they open up to it.
Right.
And so what I want to really start kind of teasing out, Jack, is the idea that the L1 being the fact that there's going to be admin keys, because there kind of needs to be for an L1, and the plan does include venture capital. People feel like, or are at least expressing a concern that this has gone away from first principles. And I see some people saying, yeah, I'm still all in on Zen, or I'm still super excited about Zen, but I'm not going to deal with the X1, which by the way is fine.
Yeah.
But help us understand how this stays within the ethos of first principles. And maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's okay.
Let me give you an example. Amazon.com. Have you guys been to the site
Yeah.
and
Is
purchased
that the one
products?
where the books? Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, purchase products, receive the brown box. Corporate entity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, let's make a thought experiment. Let's say that tomorrow they announce that they're accepting Zen as their official cryptocurrency to be used to purchase products. So they're a corporate entity. They're a for-profit entity. They have shareholders. They're trading on NASDAQ.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what does it do to Zen? It pumps the price.
Yep.
Because now there's more utility to the Zen ecosystem and to every Zenian that's holding Zen or will receive future mint. So this is no different than somebody else designing a chain, somebody else, and then using Zen burn mechanism, proof of burn, to issue native cryptocurrency within that new L1 to be used exclusively. It can only be a positive thing. So we live in a corporate world, so no amount of relationships that will be developed in the future can hurt Zen. It can only help it. Whether it's Tesla, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Burger King or McDonald's or Jiffy Lube, it doesn't matter what it is. The point is that we want Zen to be widely used as cryptocurrency, and we want Zenians to have the value, and the value can only come from two sources, from the community of holders and the usability of that cryptocurrency. And that is why we want to develop as many things on top of Zen as possible, whether it's corporate structured or not. We want those things to make Zen useful. So that's why I feel like if Zen is free to mint, you just pay a little bit of gas on 10 different chains. It is the Zenians that get the best outcome. We're working hard to make Zen useful. We're releasing Zen NFTs. We're doing all kinds of financial DeFi protocols to run on top of Zen. And we want to launch L1 that will make Zen more interesting, because to get into L1, to get the X1 token, you have to burn Zen. If you're not interested in L1, that's fine. You still get the benefit, because even 100 Zen burned, which is nothing, benefits you as a Zen holder. So the more outlets there are to burn Zen, the better it is for everyone who holds Zen.
It's like a well-oiled machine, you know.
Well, it's a proper structure. I would say that here's how it could have been done by someone else, or it's been done by someone else before. An L1 is announced. There's no product of any kind.
Right.
A token is minted and then released into the wild, and then people are given promises of great future and sold to the community of individuals holding other crypto. And then eventually it comes out or not, and that is not really first principles, because you do not have the foundation. We have the foundation of first principles. We have Zen. We have people holding Zen in many different countries on many different chains. We came up with Zen first so we could establish a baseline, and then we started to think the second act of the Zeniverse creation would be is to give it utility. And utility comes from something that can consume Zen. Now, when Zen is exchanged for X1 token, which is the native cryptocurrency of this new chain, nobody gets rich except Zenians, because the Zen tokens actually burned. They're burned. They disappear, and you're given a new token that you can then use for something else entirely, like a new L1. So when you burn your Zen, you're giving your fellow Zenians more value, and that's amazing.
Let's go.
I know. I'm seriously, I'm doing my best to think this through critically, to kind of be the devil's advocate. I want to ask the questions. And dadgummit, you always have such a good answer.
Right?
It's like, come on, man. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what I heard. I heard that Zen is the baby. Everything that you're building is the food that's going to feed the baby to make it grow.
That's right. That's exactly what
you said it like blah 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 smart, and I came up with the baby analogy, but
Blah, blah, blah.
He got the
Blah, blah,
Gerber.
blah.
He got the Gerber.
That's right.
All right. So, speaking in terms of hard question, do you want a hard question, or
Please.
like a FUD question that came from the community?
Dude, anything you want.
All right. Here we go. All right. I'm gonna throw it to you. Go ahead and smash it, Jack. Okay. And by the way, these questions are like unfiltered. So like I want them to just all right. So
Yeah.
so many apparently, now I can't verify this or not, but apparently many centralized exchanges have been minting and own a large portion of Zen, allegedly. I can't verify that. Again, this is a question from the community. How do you feel about them owning a large allocation of the native token of Zen? And if they choose to burn it, I think that was like the last part of the question, but go ahead.
So, good question. First of all, there's no any indication that they have done that. In fact, the way that they reacted to Zen launch, it felt like they were trying to play catch up and tripping over themselves to list it. Now, I know for a fact that if they held Zen before, they would have listed it earlier, and they couldn't. So they actually asked their clients and customers to send Zen that people own to the exchange so that it could be traded. So that is what I have seen. I don't think the exchanges themselves claim ownership to Zen cryptocurrency. I believe that they offered people to send Zen, and it lives in your centralized exchange account, which is not ideal because we're all for decentralization and actually trading on DEXs. But sometimes things like that do happen. I mean, ultimately, when I envisioned what Zen would be, I did not imagine that on day 2 it would be listed. I have never talked with centralized trading platforms. They just decided to do it all by themselves because I think they felt that it's a genuine thing. It has a true tokenomical power where the founding team is not enriching themselves. So they felt safe to list it, knowing that there is no one else out there that can dump on their clients' heads.
Okay. I think it's bullish that they do have it listed because it just brings more adoption. It gets more people.
I think so
in the
too.
know.
I think so too. I mean, when I looked at MAXE and I spoke to those guys too, I also spoke with Huobi. They had Zen listed on their homepage for at least a week as a trending the hottest cryptocurrency. So that helped people get into Zen. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people get into cryptocurrencies without thinking, but a good portion of them actually went ahead and read the white paper, which is a positive win for everyone.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And being on the front page of any exchange, I think, is super bullish and could absolutely help pump the price. Because people eventually figure it out, like, oh, okay, what is this thing? Oh, I can mint it for free, or I could trade it in the centralized exchange. I mean, options start opening up.
Yeah, well, I mean, if somebody lost $100 just getting into it blindly, and then they learned the lesson that maybe they should read the white paper, that's a lesson in itself. People should learn about proper way to do research. Now, I'm not saying that it was done maliciously. It just happens. So new stuff comes out, it's new and shiny, people jump into it, but they really shouldn't. And we on our team, we never said that you should go ahead and buy it. We said you should mint it, you should explore it, you should play with the web app. And I think on day 1 of Zen release, we have 20,000 people per second coming into the website. So they were not coming to the centralized exchanges. They were coming to Zen.network. And that's awesome.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I think about the fact that, Zen is on some centralized exchanges, and what is that going to do for X1? Well, if those exchanges already have Zen and they see that X1 is out, they can't get it by buying a bunch of it, can they? I mean, they're going to have to burn their large portion of Zen as well.
That's right.
So, or they're going to have to buy more off of the market and buy it. Like, the more I think about that, is just like, oh my God, they can't just call Jack and be like, hey, we want to buy some of this stuff.
Nope, they gotta freaking burn it, baby.
No, that's a market order, Jack.
Yeah.
That's right. They're not getting allocation from us. So if they want to list it and they want to get it, they have to get it from the community, which is positive for the community overall. And I think the main difference how we are launching this project is that we're going to have X1 token trading on Ethereum first. We want the auction cycles to be 3 years. And the reason why we want it to be 3 years, and when I say 3 years, this is the distribution time. So I know you mentioned cryptokindness, you have your Zen potentially coming in 400 days. And that's maybe a lot of Zen. In 400 days, it's going to be 1 year and 50 days. You still will be even before the midpoint of a period for the distribution of X1 to be over, which means you have full capability as a Zenian to make a choice should you get into X1 or not. So it's not like something that comes up this next month and then it's over. And that's how a lot of airdrops and how a lot of ICOs are done. Everything is sold quickly, and guess what? Who is selling? It's usually the investors who are selling on top of your head.
Yeah.
And that's not cool. What we're doing differently is that we're gonna, if we raise money, and I think we will, we're gonna make sure that those investors are locked up for a period of time, so they're not the market makers for the Zenians, should the Zenians decide to buy it. But ultimately, Zenians do not need to buy it. All they need to do is burn a little bit of Zen and participate in an auction process to get their X1, which makes it fair.
So, question on that: the distribution phase or the auction phase, and maybe they're the same, maybe they're different. Does that begin at testnet launch? Since when you had said that if you get testnet, in order to get testnet tokens, you have to burn Zen, and then those testnet tokens will turn into mainnet tokens when you simply switch the name. So does that distribution curve, or that I guess sacrifice, if you will, whatever we're calling it, does that begin at testnet?
It does not, because testnet does not need to be up for X1 token to be released. What the plan is that when testnet comes up, even if it doesn't come at the same time, you will be able to convert your X1 tokens for the X1 currency on the testnet, which will eventually become the mainnet.
Okay.
So you see what I mean? So you get your allocation done early, and it can even be trading on Uniswap. So we get to establish liquidity before L1 fully launches. But the bridge between the chains, whether we're going to use Stargate or something else, will be operational for you to take your X1 from Ethereum and convert it to X1 mainnet.
So another question, and Joker, I because I can't see you, I apologize. Like if you're giving me hand cues, like
No, go for it, man. Look, I mean, I have a list of questions, but like, you know, we can just go back and forth. It's fine. I'm planning on doing this for probably another hour, so you know, this way we could, you know, just kind of have this segment. But you go ahead, man. You're taking the time to be here, and this is our first time streaming together, so all the respect's yours, bro.
Well, thank you. And I haven't said this yet, but thank you for inviting me onto your channel. I thought that was pretty cool. So appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Not a problem.
And with all that said, I think I just forgot my question.
Oh, come on!
I'm so excited to ask it too. Gosh, what was it? It had to do with the tokens. Oh yeah. So the atomic swaps, you've been kind of explaining how that works. And the question I had is if people are going to be burning their Zen early for the testnet tokens, the X1, we'll just call it the X1 because it sounds like there's no testnet versus realnet. It's just X1. Will X1 that lives on Ethereum, then once the chain X1 actually launches, will the X1 that lives on Ethereum, will that essentially lose its value, or will you somehow turn that into a governance token? We've seen that happen with a lot of other chains when they launch on Ethereum first and then their chain comes out. The ETH version, the ERC20 version, then becomes like a governance token or something along this. Or does the atomic swap, the way that works with the layer 0 protocol, does that change? Do you understand my question, or should I just stop talking?
Absolutely. 100% understand. Okay. Thank you for asking.
Good, because I started to question myself.
No. It landed well in my brain. So let me explain. The atomic swaps is just technology. It has nothing to do with the tokenomics of the tokens. Now, let me give you an example. BNB currently is worth about $300. Now, BNB can actually be wrapped and exist on Ethereum, and it would be worth the same.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same thing what will happen with X1 on Ethereum. It's technically gonna get wrapped into a kind of like an airdrop on the L1, but it's freely interchangeable between chains. So it can continue to trade on Ethereum for people who are not participating in L1 in X1 at all, and still have value. And then the people who are trading on, let's say, X1, and they make a lot of X1, and then they want to sell it on Ethereum because they want to convert it to Hex, for example, they should be able to bridge over from X1 across the bridge to Ethereum, and then swap their Ethereum version of X1, which has one-to-one relationship to any token that they want, whether it's USDC, Hex, Ethereum, Wrap Bitcoin, Shiba, Dogecoin, whatever that they prefer. So the relationship will be maintained. It's going to be a peg one-to-one.
Okay. I guess you've explained it before where it doesn't live in the bridge, because you explained that the bridges are a vector for attack, and funds can get drained out of there while they're technically frozen because it's locked up on the other chain. So I guess I just need to do a little more research into the atomic swaps and what Layer Zero is doing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So going back to the community questions, Mr. Jack.
I'll be done.
Oh, no, it's cool. I'm just listen, man, we're a team. You know what I mean? We're Zenians, we're a team, and I think that we need more of these kind of collaboration streams. One of the things, by the way, that I've been mentioning, and I know Jack applauds this, where a lot of us are essentially coming together as content creators, and we should be forming essentially our champions for Zenians to go ahead and refer to, right? To reference to, you know, for their content, for their, you know, for the conversations such as what we're having today. And you know, obviously, right, people are coming here, they're coming to your show, they're coming to Jimrat, they're coming to Trayvon, and there's others out there that are, you know, are holding the torches up for a lot of our content, or a lot of the information for Zen, right? So I think it's important that, you know, this is your show as much as it is mine. Just understand that. Like, I want you to be comfortable enough to say, you know what, I'm just going to ask this question because it's important for the community to know, because they trust us, man. You know, we're the, like I said, we're the voices here. So again, thank you for what you do, man, and don't worry about it. We're you know, one team, one fight, bro.
Agreed. Thank you.
You got it. So in terms of the as far as the 70% allocation, right? A lot of people had questions about this. This one came up a lot. Where is the 70% allocation going? Well, founders and dev team have it, or where does it go?
So we're trying to model this after BNB allocation, which has been very, very successful. BNB has not lost a lot of value comparatively to other tokens out there. Ethereum went from 5,000 to 700 in this bear market cycle. BNB only lost about half of their value. I think they went from 600 to 300. So BNB was doing something right, and the way that they have done their allocation, they have allocated 50% for the community, which is done over a period of time with an auction. I think we can do a better job with the auction. 10, 15, 20% went to angel investors or VCs, maybe a combination of thereof, and the rest was allocated for governance, future development, and the foundation team.
That makes a lot of sense. And you know, I rather funding go to the right places to help develop new cool shit, and also continue building, because L1s you have to continue updating, right? So
Right.
I think that's appropriate, you know.
Yeah. So L1 cannot run in the vacuum. It requires monitoring, it requires infrastructure, it requires proper thinking and research, and it requires people to work on it. And those people somehow need to get paid. So a portion of the allocation, that the last portion that I described, will go to getting the team set up so that they actually can do get compensated specifically in relation to being successful with L1. And again, the success of L1 is what will drive the value of the X1 cryptocurrency. It's not going to be some FUD or anything that I said. If we do a sucky job, it's not going to be worth anything. And people who burn their Zen would be for nothing. So this is not what I want. I want to get best of breed, best of class team that can build and co-build this new chain that can be considered a rival to the existing cryptocurrency chains.
Yeah, I mean, continue building and getting more updates, more people on deck to like you said, monitor and observe this as it's functioning. Because if, say, for whatever reason, some things go wrong or haywire, we need, good people in the right seats to do the job, and that, like you said, that costs money. So
Yeah.
I'm excited
And
that you're thinking that way.
yeah, and like here's the thing. So like the reason for the VC dollars, whether it's going to be USDC or just straight up dollars, the money itself does not do anything. It is what you do with the money. It's how you can take that economic energy and turn it into something that looks like an engine that can produce even more value to the people. And for that, you actually need smart people working on the project. And smart people cannot be volunteers because they have to sustain their lives and they have to be excited and they have to have motivation. And so that is why I feel like when it comes to infrastructure development like L1, DVC funding is a very, very positive step because it actually makes every Zenian have more value. Because even if Zenians do not participate in the L1 project, the X1, they still get the benefit of the burn.
Your answers every time, it's like you just hit the nail on the head. I never, like, whenever there's questions like this, I've never seen like people be able to formulate such an intelligent, like, you know what I mean? But it's, you already know where this stuff is going, and it's not just that. It's like you also have it's not even like a predisposed opinion. Like, this guy never heard these questions, like, from this live stream, right? He didn't know what I was going to answer him or ask him, and it wasn't like it was coached, right? Like, this guy just said this on the fly, man, and I'm impressed, Jack. I'm very impressed.
Well, thanks. Well, I do want to, first of all, create value. Without creation of value, you're just a thief and a sweet talker and a bad actor. I do not want to be a bad actor. I think cryptocurrency can be used for a lot of good. That's what brings us all together. It isn't just a pump that follows by a dump and then another pump. That's just the dopamine circuit in our brain giving us a little bit of pleasure, looking at patting ourselves on the back saying, look at me, I have bought the bottom and sold the top. This is not what I'm here for. I'm here to create decentralized products and try to do my best to do them well. And so it requires a lot of thinking and the right strategy. And I obviously have consultants that I talk to, other people in crypto that's been in there for a while with me as well. And so, and that thing is important to me because reputation is everything. So I have to absolutely be completely transparent. And that's why I brought up the question of VCs pretty much immediately. Or rather, I spoke about the plan so that the community can get into this sort of questions, whether they're funny or not. People deserve to spend time thinking about what exactly does it mean for Zen in the future. So that is why that aspect was brought up ASAP.
That again, I'm wildly impressed, man. And it shows that you do have, that you're taking a lot of, I guess, measures to help you in this approach, right? And one thing that I said recently in the Twitter Spaces was that, it seems that you understand human psychology very well. I'm a psychologist by trade, by the way. I am a human behavior scientist. That's what I do with my, with my real life job. And it's, the way that you speak and the way that you're working on showing this information, pairing it with other other things that are relatable, right? Like you don't speak how a normal crypto founder speaks. You have this way of like making it relatable where it's the information's more like accepted, right? And I think that is super important, and it shows that you've taken the time to really like, solidify your approach in this. Am I right in saying that?
I think so. Well, I want to win, but I think I can only win if we all win together. So that's why I spend a lot of time thinking about how to do this right.
It shows. It definitely shows.
That's yeah, it does. Regarding the VC, one question for you, Jack. I'm not familiar with this. You've been in crypto longer. Maybe Joker, you have too. Are there any L1 chains that didn't have VC involvement outside of Pulse chain that hasn't launched yet? So to date,
Bitcoin.
That's not an L1 though.
Well,
I guess
mean, it is.
It's not an L1. It's number one. So I guess that's a good point. So Bitcoin did not. Outside of that, it seems like most of the L1 projects have venture capital, right? I mean, Ethereum had venture capital.
They sold their Ether to VCs to raise money to develop Ethereum, and it turned out great. I mean, so far.
Sure. The reason why I bring that up is because surprising, like I heard a bunch of people saying like, oh, we've seen how other crypto projects end when VCs get involved. And certainly in the last cycle, there were several coins that were major flops that did have, large VC involvement. ICP is one that I think everybody's very familiar with. And of course, FTT, that wasn't really that was more of a governance token than anything. But there's also a lot of VC funded projects that have done very, very well, right? Very successful projects. So is the VC, is that like the big gorilla in the closet that we should all be afraid of? Or is it something when it's managed properly, it can be very beneficial?
So I don't think so. I don't think anybody should be afraid of VCs. But sometimes you have entrepreneurs that have no experience how to run a company raising money for the first time. And you also get into a VCs that don't have the best interests for your product either. And just let me give you a little story. So ImageShack.com, I was raising money for it, and that was before I was introduced to Sequoia. I was talking to another VC firm, and when I did my pitch, they were ready to invest. And you know what they told me? They said that they'll do it if I turned it into a porn site.
What?
Yeah. So ImageShack.com was giving people free image hosting. And they wanted me to run a porn site because they felt it would be better and more lucrative for their investments.
Then they could care less about what you wanted, right? Like what you wanted it to be.
Well, so they weren't in it for the tech.
Well, they were different type of tech.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, but anyhow, I guess what I meant to say is that I had my choices lined up in front of me, and they were not my first choice. But for a lot of entrepreneurs, they're challenged by VCs that they're giving them the guidelines to follow, or they will not invest.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, why would they if their best interest isn't maintained, right? They essentially want to control it because they're giving you money for it.
Yeah, it becomes their own little sandbox, and they can do whatever they want. So I can understand why people are concerned that if somebody comes in and gives some sort of given some sort of allocation, they have better rights than the rest of the community. That's what ultimately it comes down to. The way that I see it, the community gets the most of the tokens X1 because they already hold and will be minting Zen, where VCs are getting a microscopic allocation that is the most expensive for them because they have to pay outside of the market settlement process. They have to negotiate with me how much money that I'd like to receive and how many tokens they will be allowed to at some point receive, subject to a vesting schedule. For example, I don't plan that allocation to be liquid and be available to make the market and for them to become sellers and sell on top of the community's heads, so to speak, right? I would want, because they're getting a pre-allocation, they're taking a lot of risk. It doesn't give them the right to take the money away from the community.
Right, to dump on the price.
I just had a thought that I think I've got my stumper. I think I've got it. This is where I actually.
You got a stumper.
Yep. Got
Bring it.
Look at-
Bring it.
Okay. Hold on.
Look, he's
Bring
like,
it.
let's go.
Wait. I'm gonna hold my. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Oh, he got the
I'm going
axes.
gangster because I got you.
He got the axes.
Yeah.
Dude, when you showed that on Trayvon's stream, I'm like, what the hell? Yo, he throws axes. Do you throw those?
Yeah. It's I have a throwing board right outside right here, and every morning I go and I throw them, trying to hit the bullseye.
That's really good. Are you
Nice.
trying to like compete or
No. That's just me
having fun?
having fun and training my arm to be coordinated with my visual cortex.
You know what it is? You know what he's doing? You know those vampire slayers that are out there?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I
You
have to
know,
be
like-
ready. I have to be ready.
Yep, they're coming for you, Jack.
Well, they'll get a beating.
Oh
They're
yeah.
gonna take a
Well, they get
beating,
an
that's
axing,
right.
really. So what's up,
Nice.
kindness? Go ahead, ask it.
Okay. Here's the challenging question. If X1 is only available to those that burn Zen, where is the allocation of coins going to come from for the VCs?
The way that the L1 tech is done is you have to create the allocation at the Genesis block. So it's not the same as mining. When you launch an L1 chain, you literally have to specify at Genesis how many coins is available for the ecosystem. There isn't a process to mint it because it's not a smart contract derived cryptocurrency. It's derived from the Genesis block itself. And so the way it works is that we're gonna issue 1 billion, or should I say 1 billion.
He did the pinky, bro.
Ah, yeah. Nice.
Dr. Evan, 1 billion coins.
He did the Dr. Evil, dude. I love it.
So 1 billion coins will be pre-allocated. Out of these 1 billion coins, 50% will be deposited into a burner contract that will burn those coins every quarter or maybe every month. We haven't decided, but on a schedule. The plan is that over a course of the time to get rid of the 50% of the supply. Now, the reason why the burn is important, and this is something that I've been studying very closely with BNB, when you come up with the supply, your dollar value on the cryptocurrency is lower because the supply is higher. So when you burn the coins over time, you're actually propping the market. The market cap can remain the same, but the coins actually get more value. You see what I mean? So when you hold one X1, it will eventually become effectively 2 X1s in dollars. So that is why the burn is going to be part of it. So 50% of 1 billion will be burned. That other 500 million will be split into something like 50% for the community, 10, 15, 20% for the VCs, and the rest for the founding team, and to finance and fund the acquisition of talent to build an amazing L1. And so, yes, so to answer your question again, the VCs will not necessarily get the coins on day one. They will get what we call warrants, which is a financial promissory note that gives a person or a company a right to convert, or rather to receive for the dollars paid today, the future coins from the X1. So that is... Yeah, go ahead.
Finish what you're saying there.
No, that's it.
It's
I'm
like
done.
an IOU kind of deal, right? It's like
It's in the regular finance, it's called a convertible note, and in cryptocurrency world, it's an agreement for the purchase of the future tokens. So the tokens do not even have to be given to anybody's wallets, but when it comes the time for the L1 to launch, when those tokens are actually created, then they will get their allocation. Now, the cool thing about this plan is that the Ethereum smart contract that will be minting X1 for the Ethereum crowd, specifically the Zenians, And when I say Ethereum, it's probably going to be, we haven't decided how many chains it's going to be on. But for the sake of simplicity, let's just say Ethereum. So those tokens, the equivalent one-to-one relationship tokens to X1 on the L1 chain will be created from the Zen burn. But L1 does not need to exist. So this issue of having something that is created at inception does not need to delay people's ability to actually create the X1 token on Ethereum. And by the way, investors do not get any Ethereum X1 at all. They only get the L1's allocation.
Has there, I don't even know if this is possible, but this is just the Moon Boy question. And then I promise I'm done asking questions, Joker. I promise.
Dude, keep doing it. You got it. Go ahead.
Is there any consideration to keeping the VCs kind of on the same plane or playing field as the OG Zenians, that whatever donation or financial backing they give to the X1 chain, that amount goes into market order buys of Zen over a scheduled period of time so that they also become Zen holders?
Well, they can certainly do that if they wanted to.
Yeah, I just realized how stupid my question was, but it was
Damn, bro.
Yeah, come on.
Hey, listen, there are no
That's why I
stupid
said Moon Boy.
questions.
No,
Dude, there are no
listen.
stupid questions in crypto. You know that. Come on, man.
That was a Moon Boy question, but I realized that, yeah, that money is going to hire people and do stuff like that. I thought a market buy of $20 million would be great.
So I do have a question in terms of, getting funds, right, for funding, I guess, opposed to getting, money from VCs. Would you consider any decentralized funding methods?
That is where the fire could be lit under my ass, and a violation of SEC rules could be presented. Specifically, the VCs and angels have to be accredited investors. That is the only way that it is legal in the United States to raise money.
I see. Okay, so there's a legality issue there.
Yeah, because if you dump your coins into a pool and then say, hey, go at it, and it's going to be all decentralized, that's actually an equivalent of selling an unregistered security.
Wow. Huh. Okay, so are there any other alternatives for raising money aside from VCs?
Well, VCs is a loaded word. Really, it could be angel investors too. So anybody who has the accreditation, and those numbers always change, so you have to check your jurisdiction. But you have to obviously disclose your name. You have to put a signature on a piece of paper. It doesn't need to be doxed on internet. That is not required. But what is required is a financial document needs to be signed by the founder, which would be myself, plus the investor, and we all get copies. And that is how their rights are protected, should I decide to take all of their money and buy a bunch of Lambos and start a Lambo dealership. So
Or watches.
or watches. or buy a strip mall.
Yes.
So. Yeah.
Strip mall.
That makes sense. That's what we've seen with Celsius and BlockFi and all these things, that the investors, the VCs or the angel investors, whatever, the people that actually sign documentation, those are the people that are getting paid first, and anybody else that invested kind of just gets screwed. So I see where the paper trail essentially is signatures and agreements where that comes in.
Well, we want to make sure that the investors are protected. Protected by the corporate law, and that actually makes the whole venture more stable. Because think about it, the worst thing in crypto is that how easy it is you can mislead people in sending you the coins. If you're a founder that nobody have seen your face, nobody knows where you live, nobody knows your true name, and you come up with a nice story and everybody sends you their coins, what's stopping you from disappearing? There's no law in the world that can protect investors like that. Besides them being, well, I guess they would make a stupid decision and everybody can can make a stupid decision anytime they want, but we want less of those situations, not more.
Sure.
So, in terms of the burning, okay, will there ever be a cap to how much or how much is allowed to be burned until it slows down or stops?
So BNB, they use a formula. They peg their burn to the number of blocks divided by the value of BNB, for example. And every quarter, there's like $100 million worth of BNB is burned, and it's completely on-chain and transparent. That is the model that I plan to follow. Essentially create a schedule that's linked into the activity of the chain. The other thing I wanted to mention that half of the transaction fees will be burned as well. So when you pay for a transaction, 50% will just go to a null wallet address, which will disappear from the network. So that's bullish for X1. So at the end of the day, even though we're starting with 1 billion X1 cryptocurrency, you will eventually get down to 500 million, and then if the chain is widely used, that 500 million will be reduced continuously. So the value of holding and using that X1 will continuously increase.
Okay, interesting.
All I can do is smile. Exactly. It's like,
that's
what?
bullish as fuck, dude.
Well, I wish I could take credit for this amazing presentation, but all of it has been done before with actually products that are solid, that people trust. I'm just standing on the shoulders of the giants, and I want to do things not only better, but follow the foundations and sound principles that worked in the past.
Well, I mean, if it works, right? Like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And if you can do things to make it better and kind of, build something that essentially enhances it, then why not, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who cares, right? As long as it's making it better. I mean, that's why all these forks exist, right? Forks are essentially trying to do it better than the initial, chain, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, going to technical stuff, I was very pleased that our testnet, the private testnet we're running now, can sustain 1,400 transactions per second.
I saw that.
That's about it's about 100 times faster than Ethereum. But not only is faster than Ethereum, the concurrency of the transactions is actually what makes it faster. In Ethereum, all of the transactions are sequential, which means that if CryptoKiness and then Joker go first and then I go last, I have to wait for two of your transactions to be added to the blocks. And no other ways or technologies yet exist until we get 0k ZK rollups and ZK EVMs widely available on Ethereum. But Polygon actually has it now. All of our transactions can be executed pretty much simultaneously.
Wow.
How does X1 compare to Polygon? I mean, I know it's a Polygon fork, so is the performance similar, or are you improving that?
It should be pretty much exactly the same, but we're tweaking the block times to be 1 second from 2 seconds.
Okay.
So from the get-go, it should be at least twice as fast.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Let's see, more community questions here. We have one saying, how much will the X1 chain airdrop be per Zunicorn? And will the C rank of your Zunicorn play a part in the calculation of this?
We haven't decided the absolute numbers, but it is true that all of these NFT holders, whether it's Collector, Limited, or Apex, will get airdrops. And I also wanted to mention that the new projects like Phoenix will also get airdrops.
What? Come on.
What? Oh,
Stop traffic.
Let me explain why.
Okay.
Let me explain why. So Phoenix team has been working hard at making Zen's ecosystem better by presenting a protocol that actually burns Zen. When Zen is burned, even if you're not in Phoenix, you're helping the ecosystem. So like in other words, you get the benefit from all of the Phoenix users that are burning Zen because they're reducing the total supply. So people who are burning Zen and getting Phoenix should be rewarded with airdrops because they're making our ecosystem stronger.
So I have a question then. If someone burns for Phoenix, assuming, let's just assume that Phoenix launches before next, if I understand correctly, isn't Phoenix actually using the Zen smart contract burn, that
That's
same
right.
burn address?
That's right. So
So-
we have a registry of everybody's burns.
Okay, so if you burn for Phoenix and Phoenix launches before next, does that then qualify you for next?
It would. Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh, put a little spice into the Phoenix story here.
That's right.
ZenFTs work the same way. ZenFTs launched 3 weeks ago, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Whoever minted the first ZenFT obviously has burned some Zen. That is a record on blockchain. If you have a record on blockchain, you're gonna get an airdrop.
Gotcha.
Right. That makes sense.
So this is a tangled web, but for all the right reasons. I like it.
Well, everything has a purpose. It's like everything just collaborates with the next thing, and I find that to be fascinating. Like, do you have like a whiteboard somewhere drawn like a big spider web of certain things?
Yeah, it's right behind me.
Yeah, of course. I would imagine that's quite massive with a whole bunch of things just connecting to like everything, and how things would work in the most efficient manner. Wow, and is it just you working on that, or is it like you and a team?
I have a crypto syndicate that's helping me to solidify my ideas, and you guys are obviously helping too because you're asking the questions leading to the solutions that I haven't thought about.
High five, Joker.
Hell yeah! So you know what that means, right? Live streams like this, where we stimulate all of these questions to be asked, we need more of that, right? So I do plan on doing this periodically here with Jack, where I collect a lot of the questions from the community, and kind of give it to Jack so he can hear the concerns of the community and be able to mold this thing to a point where it's so fine-tuned and finessed. I mean, it's essentially community built. If he's considering questions like that, I mean, that's
Absolutely.
brilliant.
Every member of a community that has a very good idea will be seriously considered,
Nice.
and that's what makes us stronger as a community.
Right, and that's why you go into the spaces, and that's why you make yourself available. It's all making sense, man. This is all making sense. I absolutely love this.
Awesome.
So
I'm
what
still
if,
trying to find reasons to hate you and to poo-poo the project. I'm not done. Still trying.
Well, there's
You
people
haven't-
out there. So I've seen people on Twitter, and this is honesty, man. Like I've seen people on Twitter trying their hardest to FUD Jack, and it's like the crap that they say is like, again, the whole janitor. I mean, that was a joke that you made, but they're trying to like make it real. And then there was like some other stuff that they're saying that like apparently like pre-minting, and I don't know. I didn't include it into this live stream because it was just a bunch of nonsense. But my point is, like, as I was going through a lot of my research on Twitter when I was speaking to some of these people, like some obvious like nefarious players were trying to hurt your image. So I tend to kind of try to suppress that away from a lot of this stuff, but there's an effort there, and I just want the Zenians to understand, like, our role here is to make sure that we can fight the FUD, we can correct the narrative, right? And there it's not much, right? Their arguments are actually quite weak.
Yeah. So sometimes FUD is needed, but it needs to be constructive.
I
A
agree
cons-
completely.
A constructive FUD is what we call an objection that needs to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't just have FOMO. We need to have the right balance of FUD and FOMO, like yin and the yang, to make the our thinking crystal clear and the foundation solid.
Right. Absolutely.
Concur.
You need both you know, good and evil, right? And you know, the hero and the villain.
That's right. That's
One
why
thing
we're
I
on the
would-
stream.
Yeah.
I get to be the hero. I'm the guy with the kindness name, for crying out loud.
You're gonna be sacrificed, Crypto Kindness.
I
You're
don't
too
know.
nice. You're too nice.
That backfired.
Set him ablaze. As a matter of fact, here I'm gonna do
Set
something
him
for you right now.
ablaze.
I'm gonna go ahead and make sure we handle you right now, Crypto Kindness.
Uh-oh. I'm not going to be able to watch what happens. Let me know if I'm supposed to be screaming.
There you go, Crypto Kindness. Dude,
So
you
it
just
is
got
important as a
zapped.
community, though.
Look
Oh, no.
at the stream.
What's happening?
Look at the stream. I just
Can you see
zapped
this, Jack?
Oh my god. You just got zapped.
Joker's having a great time. I have no idea.
Watch the replay, bro. You'll love it.
I will.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I don't want to take away from whatever's happening.
Yeah. So what he did is he did the Emperor, and then he launched the Emperor energy bolt in your face.
it was like spot on right into your face, dude. It's hilarious. That's how I was cracking up.
Oh. That's funny. We got Jack laugh. We got an actual belly laugh out of Jack. Well done.
Yes.
Well done.
Yes. That's how we do this, man. You look, you know, I know my content is unconventional, and that's why I do it, because like it brings more people to, like, you know, to the table, and we can talk more, and it gets a lot of people super interested, and you know, again, I know it's not for everyone, and all respect to people who, you know, who have a different idea and they want to be more serious, but this
Dude.
is also really needed too.
We need to replay your flying potato that looked like a vampire biting hexagons. We have to play it.
That was pretty funny.
Dude.
Crypto Kindness, did you see it?
I saw that. And I was laughing.
I'm watching it at least once a day, because every time I watch it, I just laugh. It is so funny.
Dude, it was like on the spot, right? Like I love doing stuff like that, because, you know, the filters, they can do a lot. But
even Trevon had a little smile. I
he
could tell.
did. He liked the blah blah blah.
Yeah, blah blah blah. Exactly. I wasn't sure. He seemed like really perplexed. He was like, "What the hell is happening here?" But the blah 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 got him.
Yeah.
The little he called. I think somebody called it a little vampire turd.
That's
The
right.
little,
That was-
yeah, it's a little vampire. But you know, it's funny because, like, you know, the universe. I'm a very big believer in how the universe works, right? And like it does things on purpose, right? It shows you stuff that's like, you know, there's no way this is a fucking coincidence, right? So they called you a vampire,
Right.
and now, so after they called you a vampire, they have adopted this title of true and full-blooded hexagons. And it's like, you called them a vampire, and now you're a full-blooded hexagon? It sounds like we need to feast, right? It's hilarious.
It is so
these
funny.
Memes
It's so
write
funny.
themselves, man. You know?
You need to play it. Everybody in the chat, they want to play it. They want you
Yeah,
to play
play it. I'm watching on my phone now, so I'm gonna be able to see this.
All right, let me go ahead and pull it up real quick. Here we go. I'm gonna have to mute the music real quick.
Oh, this is too funny.
Yeah, it was a very fun situation. Here we go. You
Yeah, I
got.
think I'm looking at this. You've got 425 people here today.
Oh yeah, whenever
Did I
Jack's
see
up,
that right?
Yeah, whenever Jack's up, we get quite a bit of the
Yeah.
viewing. Hang on one second. Here we go. Watch this. Oh God.
All right, we're watching.
Listen, I'm gonna transform to my final form. It's gonna happen once that moon comes up. Are you ready, Xenians?
I love that you're pre-laughing.
Oh! Feed my Xenians! Make sure you bite all of the pure blood hexagons! Ha ha!
I'm excited to watch Jack laugh.
I have the fangs, and we are going to bite tonight! Where's the hexagons? I started hissing. Here we go! God, I love this freaking song.
It is a sweet song.
Yeah. It sounds like something vampire would be like hunting to, Have yourself a great night. Zenians, we love you. And we'll see you on the next one. Blah, blah, blah. We don't say blah, blah, blah because we'll say blah, blah, blah. That was a fun time. That was a really fun time. But if you don't know what that's referring to, here's the clip of what blah, blah, blah means.
Johnny,
Yeah, I don't
come
know
quick.
that.
What's up? He's okay?
Dennis said his first word.
He did?
Come on, honey. Say it again.
Blah, blah, blah.
I don't say blah, blah, blah.
We didn't say
Oh,
it
I've
did.
seen this before.
where did
Yeah,
he get
okay,
that?
I get it now.
Well, maybe sometimes you say it.
I only say it when I say I don't say it.
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, kid, we get it. You can talk. Denisa Beach.
Dad.
Just checking for cavities.
So that's the movie Hotel Transylvania, and that was where I got the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh, that's
Jack,
awesome.
Jack, can
Yeah.
we get a blah, blah, blah?
Blah blah blah.
Yes!
Hey,
Yes!
I was rehearsing for 2 days. I was like running around the house and telling my family blah blah blah. Every time I see them.
He said blah, blah, blah.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, you guys have to clip that. You
Yeah.
guys have to clip that. There's no way in hell that shouldn't go viral. That needs to go viral, like right now.
Blah, blah,
Blah,
blah.
blah, blah. Oh my gosh.
Somebody needs to clip just Jack saying blah blah blah, and every
Oh, yeah.
time there's a FUD, it's just on loop. Blah 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 blah. blah.
Yeah! Yes! Dude, 100%. If anybody ever fuds or they talk nonsense without any like pungency, just play Jack saying blah blah blah.
This went south fast.
Oh no, it's great. It's great.
I know.
This is where we kind of have laughter and we show that we're actually real people, right?
We're human, right? Exactly.
Yeah, we're human beings.
Yeah,
guys.
we're just having fun.
Yeah. So, all right, listen, we're going on 2 hours now, and I just, I want to finalize. Do you, Crypto Kindness, do you have anything you want to kind of ask us to conclude? Do you want to, maybe say a statement or whatnot to the community, kind of just, encouraging words so we can all, kind of hear from you and what you got to say.
Well, thank you for that opportunity. The one thing I will throw this out as a challenge to everybody. The reason why I kind of went in 2 feet first, like jumped all in on Zen, was I had an opportunity to talk to Jack a few times prior to him even announcing he was creating his own token. But I immediately liked him, good vibes, fun conversations, stuff like this. I fancy myself a pretty good read of character, and so when he said he was making a token, I was like, okay, this is certainly something I want to learn about. And then when I learned it was Zen and everything about the ethos of the token, the project, fair crypto, giving everybody the same opportunity, and just the name of it, Zen, it in of itself creates a culture of open-minded, critical thinkers, relaxed, not the fudsters, not the angry, the angry people we see on Twitter. I feel like this community is open and embracing and welcoming, and wants good dialogue, wants to be able to ask questions. Jack has certainly shown that that's what he wants the community to be able to do. And so as this community grows, nonetheless, we're going to come under fire. There's going to be people attacking. There's going to be FUD. There's going to be, all the stuff we're kind of seeing. It's just going to get amped up as the Zen ecosystem grows and certainly starts to become successful in terms of a chart. People are really bent out of shape on the chart. My challenge to everybody is keep the Zen ethos alive. Let's not stoop to other people's level and start, tweeting out stuff like, haha, this community hates us because, and all this type of stuff. Just keep the open-mindedness, keep the chill sense of community. Don't stoop to other people's level. Keep Zen, And that alone will draw more people to want to be part of this community. So just keep it real.
Absolutely. Here. I would definitely add that our community does not, we're not maxis. We don't hate anyone. We're here for education. We're here to make the world better, and to have fun, and to make money, and do all of the things in a positive type of manner. I was in the Hexagon Telegram group today on their voice chat, and the room turned really positive around Zen. And the guys were discussing how the Zen ecosystem can actually be helpful to the Hexagon ecosystem, and how we can all be friends and be better together than apart. Somebody said that in any Zenian convention, there will always be at least one Hexagon in the room, and it's true. I mean,
And
like,
way
with the
more than
kindness,
that.
you're wearing a pulse chain hat right
I
now.
haven't changed it. Although I will say, the Zen hat has been ordered.
Nice.
Hey,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I'm not
yeah,
going to
so-
abandon the Pulse chain hat. I mean, I'm a Hexagon. I'm all in on Pulse. I'm all in on Pulse X. And, you know, to further what I said, and thank you, Jack. I might have just kind of interrupted you. I apologize for that one. But, you know, there's a lot of Hexagons in Zen, and there's a lot of Hexagons struggling with Zen. And there's also a lot of Hexagons that feel threatened by Zen. We as a community need to just be open doors, open arms. Like, okay, come on in and talk. And, you know, if you're going to be nasty and you're going to be disrespectful, don't engage with it. Just ignore it. But the people that have genuine questions and are concerned about something, because, you know, they're going to hear something in a different community. We hear about the chart all the time. We hear about Jack has copied absolutely everything Richard Hart has done. And FYI, basically moving forward, anybody that forks a new chain or forks a decentralized exchange is going to be copying Richard Hart. So that's just kind of
fucking real.
right?
Oh,
But
come on.
doesn't matter. The point is, don't stoop to their level. I already said that, but just, hey, I get it. You've got challenges, you got questions. Let's sit down and have a talk. As you were saying earlier, Joker, you know, direct them to Jack, direct them to you, direct them to Trevon. Just like, let's keep this ethos. I love it. I love the Zen feel about the community and everything. So, I might have been
and guys, I think we're having a positive impact on the Hexagon community too. I mean, Richard has tweeted, not a single purchase in the last of his 7 tweets.
Yes.
and updates, a lot of updates since you started challenging him.
Updates, technical updates, and I believe it happened because the community has spoken. I posted a poll asking Hexagons if they wanted more transparent Richard, and 55% of those people who voted actually said yes. And I think he listened, and he's reacting positively to it. And there's a lot of stuff coming out that people were waiting for, and that is a positive thing. I think, yeah. Overall, I think we want Richard to be more like that than anything else, right?
I've been asking for updates for Pulse for a long time before that, and I wasn't getting any of it. As a matter of fact, he was doing the complete opposite, where he was, you know, just posting like the Hex Flex and whatever. And I was very upset because I'm like, man, I sacrificed so much money for this, and I'm not getting anything, and we should be getting more. The fact that, you know, you were able to stimulate that, I'll give you my thanks, man. Like, you know, here live, because I was getting real fucking pissed. I'm like, dude, you know, you need to give me updates. I want to know, even if I don't understand it, I want to know you're doing something. You know, I just want to know something is being done. Because if not, then I'm like, okay, I'm looking at you buying stuff. I don't care. I don't care. I care that you're going to do something that's going to enrich me, right? You're going to build this thing that I invested into that's going to appreciate in value, and boom, I'm going to have the Louis Vuitton fucking purse. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on, Richard. We all want purses. Come on.
Right? Come on. You know?
I don't want a purse. I don't have money for a purse.
No. Okay. You're gonna get MERS.
I'll get a MERS. There we go.
That's right. A man purse. That's right.
Nice. Gentlemen, I gotta bounce. The wife is home from work, and I got to address that. But Joker, I can't thank you enough for having me on, Jack.
Bro, I want to be on your show now.
That's gonna happen. I think. Jack, are we getting together Friday still?
We can. Yeah.
Let's
Okay,
do
I
it.
I sent you text, and I'll throw out an invite to a few other people as well. If we could get a little panel thing going.
Dude, we need to have so let me just say this. We need to have like all of the influencers, or I wouldn't call them influencers, but all of the people who are, you know, giving the knowledge of Zen and doing this to, you know, to stimulate a good audience. to, we all have to go to one panel one day, whether it be this Friday or other, where we all can sit with Jack and really, provide that support and give, a huge community stream, right? I mean, I'm talking about, your audience, my audience, Jim Rat, Trayvon, everyone on one stream, just to have everyone involved, right? Because, I mean, if my streams are getting 400 people, and we put, I'm sure a lot of the same people watch my streams and your streams, right? But, I think that a collaborative kind of stream would be even more massive. So let's work on getting that done. What do you think?
I'll do it.
It's awesome.
I mean, yeah, we'll do it Friday. I'll throw out invitations. Whoever can make it can make it. I'll work with Jack on a time. Probably, 2 or 3 in the afternoon, Jack? That's usually when you like to do those. My time, Eastern. So for you, like 8 a.m. or something.
Yeah, that
We'll
will
figure
work.
that out.
Well,
We'll figure that out.
I can't work. I work it until 5. So
Gotcha.
can we do it just a little bit later than 5, like maybe 6 or 7?
We can do this off of the air, but yeah.
Okay.
We can figure out a time.
Cool. Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Great. Jack, any closing remarks?
Gentlemen, it's a pleasure. I'm going to bow out.
All right, take care. man.
Thanks,
Thank you for
Kirby.
coming again, man. I appreciate you, dude.
Likewise. Thank you.
Yeah, so Joker, what do you think of our L1 conversation?
Dude, the more that I hear about it, the more the critical questions that you address. I mean, literally everything that we spoke about, I believe that this very well has the opportunity to be one of the most widely used L1s. The only thing I could tell you is to get adoption on like an L1, I think is probably the most important thing, right? To get people to adopt it, to build on top of it, right? And one thing that, Pulse Chain doesn't have that I believe that we have here on the X1, chain is that we are inviting for people to build with us, right? And I believe that the way that you're finessing this, I'm sure you're taking into account that coding language is very important for developers who will develop on top of X1. I believe it needs to be simple. And that's one of the things that, I guess lessons learned for, say, Cardano. Charles Hoskinson, he said, he was having issues, having people build on top of Cardano. So that's why he developed the Vasile hard fork to make it more understandable for developers. So I think that in its own, and I know you're taking that into an account, but I think that's what's making me super bullish. The fact that you have the knowledge that, hey, this has to be simplified, right? You can speak in layman's terms, and you are more inviting for collaborative effort opposed to saying, oh, well, everything else sucks, I'm going to save you in crypto, just buy my shit, right?
Right. Yeah, that is the easiest thing to do and probably the worst thing to do for the people.
Right, exactly. Well, Jack, listen, I'm going to go ahead and close out this stream, man. Thank you again. We will do this again, within either a week or 2 weeks. I'd like to have build up to my streams, as you know. So, save the juicy goosey. Save the juice for the Joker, right?
For sure.
I'm just kidding.
I'll make sure the juices are flowing before we talk again.
Of course, man. Listen, Jack, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Love everything that you're doing, and let's continue building, man. Let's get this out to the masses, bro. This is
Thanks. Take care, Mr. J.
Take care, Mr. Jack Levin.
Bye.